Hey guys. Are you all there? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Melanie. All right, guys. So that's nice. You have your cameras on. Okay. So today we'll actually be starting a new task. Well, not a new task, a new section. So we're done with the speaking and we'll be looking at the writing now. So let's see what we have. Okay, hold on. I don't know what's wrong with this. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with my computer today, but it's just off. So as I was saying, the writing section, it's over 30 as all of the other sections, and it lasts 50 minutes. Okay, you get 4 tasks in this one. The writing section has 4 tasks. The first one lasts 20 minutes, as you can see here, and the second one 30, which makes a total of 50 minutes. Okay, and it's over 30 as all of the other sections. Is that okay? Any questions so far? Now, the good thing is that we have 3 classes to look at the writing. So we're going to be taking 1.5 class for each part. Today, we'll start with the integrated writing. We'll continue next class, and then we start with the independent. So let's take a look. Now, this integrated writing is quite similar to what we had in the speaking. I don't know if you remember the term integrated, but it means that you get to do something before you answer the question. You need to work with some material. And in this case, what you'll be doing is you'll be reading an article first for 3 minutes. Of course, this article is going to be a bit longer than the ones we had previously. So something like this. And after you read for 3 minutes, you will be listening to a lecture where the professor is going to talk about the same topic. Okay, so you read, you listen to the lecture, and finally you get the question, which is going to ask you to write an essay summarizing both the passage and the lecture. Okay, you get 20 minutes to write the essay. 20 minutes. Okay, so you read for 3 minutes, listen to a lecture, and you need to write an essay summarizing both in 20 minutes. Is this okay? Any questions so far? No? Okay. So now let's see how the structure of each one is going to be. Okay? Now, unfortunately, I cannot tell you what exactly you will have, so what topics you will have, like I did in the speaking. So I don't know if it's going to be history, if it's going to be literature, technology, but I'll give you some examples of things that I have seen. Okay? Now, what you need to do is that it's always going to be a debatable topic. A debatable topic. So it's something that you can actually have two perspectives on that you can debate. And the reading is going to be in favor of something. So the reading is going to have one position, and the article, and the professor in the lecture is going to have another view on this. So you have two opposing views on a topic. Now, usually it's something about technology. So it's probably something like, okay, I think that this new technology, maybe solar energy, is a great technology. So that's what the reading says. And then the lecture says the opposite. I think you're wrong. It's not such a good technology after all. Other things I've seen is like speculations about the past. So it could be something like I don't know, maybe Cleopatra, I don't know, it's believed that Cleopatra had 2 kids before getting married, okay? So it's a speculation about the past that the reading is gonna be trying to prove and that the lecture is gonna try to object, you know? And what else? I think those are usually the two types, or sometimes you have something about the future too. So it's a speculation about the future. Maybe in 50 years from now, this is going to happen. The earth is going to explode. The reading is in favor of that idea and the lecture is against. Okay, so it's usually like that. Now, the structure of each one is something like this. It's always going to be like this. You have 4 paragraphs, as you can see, here separated by colors. You have a short, well, not so short in this case, introduction, the first paragraph. And the last 3 paragraphs are body paragraphs. Okay, so they are the body of the article. And you don't have any conclusions. Okay, now what you will have here in terms of content. In the introduction, you're going to have a main claim presented. The main claim. So first of all, I wanted to say this is going to be an argumentative text. Okay, so it's trying to prove something, trying to convince you of something or persuade you of something. Okay, it's an argumentative text. It's trying to convince the reader of something. So in the introduction, you guys will have the main claim presented. So does anybody know what a claim is? Can anyone tell me? Well, a claim is basically a statement, okay? It's an opinion, something that you can say, that you can believe, but you cannot really prove, okay? It's something that you can try to convince someone about, but not prove. So for instance, I can say something like, people are better than animals. So that's something that I could believe in, that I could say, and I could try to convince you, giving you some reasons, but I can't prove it, right? So that's what you will have here, a claim, a statement, okay, an opinion. And then in the three body paragraphs, in these ones here, you guys will have three reasons supporting that claim. So if I say people are better than animals, I need to support that. I need to back it up. So I can give you three reasons. I'm going to say, first, we are more empathetic than animals. Second, we are smarter than animals. And third, I don't know, we have evolved in a better way, maybe. Okay, so that's what you will have. You will have the main claim, which is the author's opinion, and then three reasons backing it up, okay, in the three body paragraphs. So is this all right? Do you have any questions so far in the reading? Now, what you need to do when you're reading, just read and try to understand, try to get the reading, okay? You don't have to memorize it. You don't have to take notes, since it's not gonna go anywhere. It's not gonna disappear. Once your 3 minutes are over, because they give you 3 minutes to read, you're still gonna be able to read the article. It's actually gonna be on your screen all along. This is how your screen will look like. On the left, you will have the reading, and on the right, you're gonna write your essay. So here's where you need to write your essay. So that means that you don't have to memorize it or take notes or anything, because you will have access to it all along. All right, so just try to understand, I would say. And then after you're done reading, you will have to listen to the lecture. Now the lecture is gonna be the exact opposite of what you had in the reading. So this is how it looks, to make it more visual. The professor in the lecture is gonna try to object whatever the reading said. So if the reading says people are better than animals, the professor is gonna say the opposite. I think you're wrong, animals are better. If the reading says in the first argument, people are more empathetic, the lecturer, the professor is gonna try to object that point. The same with the second and the third. So that's what you will have in the lecture. You'll have a short intro where the professor is gonna be objecting the main claim. And then you'll have three reasons that each one will be the opposite of the ones that you had in the reading. So you just need to try to catch them. So for example, here's a transcript of a lecture. And as you can see, it has the same structure. Obviously, you're not gonna be able to read the transcript, but you can pay attention to these transitions, like first off, second point, and third, and you're gonna realize which one corresponds to each point in the reading. Okay, so the first point, the first reason, the second one, the third, and you just need to try to catch those. You do need to take notes because you will only listen to these once. So you gotta take notes, you gotta try to extract the most important information from the lecture while you're listening. So is this okay now? Do you maybe have some questions? All right then. Now, before we look at an example, I would like to give you some tips. So the first thing is that you're gonna have to use reporting verbs, as always. So you need to constantly say something like the professor states, the professor claims, points out, the author believes, the article explains, and you need to try to make them in the simple present, not in the past, okay? Not the professor stated, because these are facts. Second thing is that you need to try not to quote or not to copy and paste. You know how I said that you'll have the chance to read the article whenever you want? Even if you can do that, please never ever copy and paste from the article. You can say something like, a according to the article, altruism is a type of behavior in which an animal sacrifices its own interest for blah, blah, blah. You can do it, but if you do, then there's no way that they're gonna be able to evaluate your vocabulary, right? And you're gonna, some points are gonna be lost in the process. So vocabulary is part of the rubric. Basically, they evaluate your essay based on content, organization, and language, right? And language is grammar, vocabulary, all that stuff. Organization is how organized, format, paragraphs, and content is how relevant everything that you're saying is, whether you're covering all the information. So vocabulary counts. Please don't copy and paste. Now, this is like your contingency plan. Many people have told me something like, I just didn't understand the lecture, or I didn't get to hear it, I was distracted, I couldn't take good notes. So if something happens with the lecture and you're not able to catch everything, then your plan is just to think of the opposite of the reading, okay? And that's gonna be, you're gonna have to make it up. Okay, so that's like the contingency plan. If something happens when you're listening to the lecture, you don't know what it was about, you gotta just make your way out of it, think of the opposite of the reading. It's probably gonna be that. Now you need to paraphrase as you read in order to find some synonyms and not to repeat. Please don't count the words. I'm sure you guys are gonna ask me how many words do I have to write? And according to the ETS, according to the TOEFL, an ideal number would be between 200 and 250 words. So this is like the ideal number they give. But of course, you can write more, you can write less. It's not about the number of words you have, but it's about how well written it is. So you can have a 800-word essay and say nothing, or a 190-word essay and have a good one. So don't worry too much. If you want to make sure you have the minimum, just make sure that you are covering everything you have in here. So you have the main claim, the 3 reasons in favor and against. If you have that, you'll be more than fine. You can count the paragraphs. So in your essay, you need to have 4 paragraphs, and each one should be 4 or 5 lines at least. Okay, so, and that's gonna be 200 or 250 words. Okay, so is this all right so far? Any questions? I'll give you more tips as we go. For now, let's just try to do an example. So here's a reading. You guys will have, not 50, I'm sorry, I'm with the speaking. You guys will have 3 minutes to read, okay? I'll give you all 3 minutes. Remember what you're looking for. In the intro, you got the main claim and 3 reasons. So 3 minutes, you can start reading. Okay, guys, so you're all done? All right, then let's discuss. So first thing, for starters, can anyone tell me what the main claim is here in this article?
It is about the advantages of driverless.
Okay, that's right. So if we have to say what this is about, then yes, of course, it's about the advantages of driverless cars. But is that a claim? Is that an opinion? Is that a statement? What is the author opinion? You cannot say, if you have to complete this sentence, the author thinks that, what would you say? The advantages of driverless cars?
The author claims that the driverless cars will benefit the humans.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. There you go. So you weren't wrong. The advantages of driverless cars. That's what this is about. That's like the topic of the article. But if we're looking for a claim, we're looking for the author's opinion, then that's it, right? That these driverless cars will benefit humans, will have a positive impact, will be good for society, beneficial, whatever. Now, what are the reasons he gives? What's the first reason? Why are they such a beneficial technology?
It could help to reduce traffic accidents because computers don't make mistakes when they're driving.
Okay, that's right. So it could help reduce accidents. They don't make mistakes. But there's one word that I'm looking for. Here, what's the main point? The main reason.
They are safer.
Good, they're safer, that's right. So we need to get to the bottom of the reason. So they are safer as they don't make mistakes, they're gonna reduce accidents and blah, 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 but they are safer, okay. Now, what about the second reason he gives here? Why else are they positive for humans? What's the second reason?
It's good for the environment.
Great, they're good for the environment. Okay. And what about the third, the final one? Why else?
The person can focus on other things.
Okay, yes, that's right. The person can focus on other things because they will have more time, right? Okay, yes. Okay, guys. So perfect. So as you can see, you got one claim, one opinion, and three reasons. So they'll have a positive impact because they're safer, they're good for the environment, and they will give us time. So those are the basic things that you should try to understand when you're reading. Of course, you don't have the chance to highlight it. You can take notes. Maybe you can write like safe, environment, time, maybe. But anyhow, you just need to try to make sure that that's on your mind so that when you're listening to the lecture, you're looking for those points. So you're gonna think about what the professor says about safety. what the professor says about the environment and about time. So you're gonna look for those ideas. Now, one more thing I wanted to say, some other, elements that are also important that it will be nice if you can have in your essay is examples. So did you guys find any examples in this article?
Yes. First, it mentions that there's a company who just tests their driverless car, and it drives over 7,000, I don't know, miles, and without an accident. So I think that that's a good example.
Nice, Anina, yes, that's right. So there's a company that has driven this amount. And that's perfect because that's what an example is, right? An example is anything that's more specific. So here the author is just talking about driverless cars in general, but when he gets specific and he starts mentioning one specific car, then that's an example. Now, in the other ones, is there any other example? Any other example? I would say maybe this one here about reading, watching videos, catching up on work, because that's specific as well, isn't it? When the professor just says, when the author just says, so human occupants can focus on other things, that's enough. Now, when he gets a specific, he says what activities we can do instead of driving, like reading, watching TV, or watching videos, sorry, those are examples. All right. Now, any questions about the reading part? It's quite clear, the structure, right? Now we're gonna listen to the lecture. You need to take notes, and you will see that it's gonna be the exact opposite of this. So you need to try to look for those arguments or that information that the professor gives, which is gonna be about the same that we had in here. So let's listen to this lecture.
Now listen to part of a lecture on the same topic you just read about. A lot of people are very excited about driverless cars, but most of the media attention and praise ignores the problems with driverless cars. The author seems to believe that autonomous cars will cure all of our driving troubles, when nothing could be further from the truth. Take the idea that driverless cars will be safer. Remember, all computer software is designed by humans, so any type of automatic guidance system within driverless cars will be prone to error. For example, the driverless car mentioned by the author, the one that drove over 700,000 miles without an accident, actually hit another car just last month. It was all over the news because it makes everyone doubt just how safe driverless cars actually are. And what about the idea that driverless cars will reduce pollution? Well, some studies suggest that more people will begin to drive once driverless cars become available. Since people will no longer need a driver's license to get behind the wheel, age restrictions for both young and old will no longer matter. More people will be on the road, and it will increase the amount of cars. Pollution levels may actually increase with driverless cars, even if they drive in a more fuel-efficient manner. As for the extra time the driverless cars are supposed to give us, well, that may be such a benefit after all. You see, most people nowadays find driving relaxing. They enjoy driving their car while listening to music or talk radio. It's a welcome distraction from the usual routine. Once people start to use driverless cars, it becomes another space to do work or watch videos, which is how most people already spend most of their day. I'm afraid that this extra time in driverless cars will just be another way to work or waste time. Now, answer the question. Summarize the points made in the lecture, being sure to explain how they cast doubt on the specific points made in the reading passage. You have 20 minutes to write.
Okay. So that was the lecture. Let's see. Okay, so the first thing, anyone? Anyone? What's his opinion on this matter?
First, I think he states that there will be a lot of problems, and that's the opposite of people used to think.
Okay, so that's right. So the professor is not in favor of these cars because he says that there are actually more problems than benefits. So they're not going to be as positive as the author tries to make them look. Now, why is that? What's the first reason he gives? Aren't these cars supposed to be safer?
He says that all computer softwares are designed by humans, so there will also be like how do you say human error?
Okay, so yes, I think maybe the expression you're looking for is they're prone to error.
Yes.
So they can do these things. Okay, nice. So that's correct. So the professor says, well, if human can make mistakes and they're the ones that design the software, then that means that the software can also be prone to error. Now, anything else? Does the professor say anything about the example?
Yes, he said that that car was in the example of the article just hit another car the past month or something like that.
Okay, that's true. So he says, well, your information isn't that accurate because this car that you're referring to actually hit another car. And it was in the news or whatever. Okay then, nice. And what about the second reason? Aren't they good for the environment after all?
Well, he thought that the amount of cars will increase due to the driver's license. For example, younger people can drive because it would be just a autonomous car, and there will be more cars in the roads.
Okay. And that means
More cars means more pollution.
exactly perfect. So they won't need a license. There's not going to be any restrictions. So kids and elderly people are going to be driving. More cars equals more pollution. Great. And finally, what about the last point? Isn't it a good thing that they're going to give us time?
he said that many people find driving relaxing, and he thinks that maybe that extra time that give a driverless car, it could be extra time to keep wasting, like watching videos or something like that.
Okay, that's nice. So yes, those are 2 points. He says some people like driving, into music or whatever. And if we have this extra time, we're just gonna use it. We're just gonna waste it, doing what we already do. Okay. Anything you guys would like to add to any of the points? All right. So that's great. As you can see, it's the exact opposite of what we had in the reading. All right then. Now, I don't know if you guys listened to the question, but it's this. It was this. Summarize the points made in the lecture, being sure to explain how they cast doubt on the specific points made in the reading or provided in the reading. So this, in other words, means summarize both the reading and lecture and contrast the information you have. So you need to contrast the reading and the lecture. You know, what you're gonna do is quite easy. The structure is gonna be the same for each paragraph. You're obviously gonna change the words, you're gonna paraphrase it, but everything will be the same. You know, what you will do is this. You will say something like, the reading, okay, I'm gonna write it down in simple words. So the reading says that driverless cars will have a positive impact or will be beneficial for humans. But the lecture says that they want or they will have more problems and benefits. Okay, and then the reading says, or first the reading says that, I don't know, that they are good for the environment, but the lecture says they're not. So that's what you will do, but you're gonna do it with, you know, fancier words and, you know, I know what you're thinking right now. Right now you may be thinking that it's gonna be a bit repetitive, maybe, you know, nothing new. But to be honest, I think that one of the mistakes that people make here is they think that this is a creative essay, and it's not. This isn't a creative essay. It's not about how interesting it is, about how fun it is, or exciting, or how interested the reader is, or catching the reader's attention or anything. This is about showing that you can communicate effectively in English, right? So that's the goal of this essay. Don't forget that. Now, as long as you are not repeating words because vocabulary counts, as long as you are mentioning the relevant information, as long as you are showing an extensive or a variety of grammar structures, tenses, as long as you're doing that, with this template, you can get a perfect score. I would say it's actually quite easy to improve the writing section. It's just that you check some grammar rules, punctuation, format, you practice, you memorize some expressions, check some vocabulary, but it's quite possible, even if you don't have a perfect English, to get a good score. So that's what you will do here, okay? You will contrast every single piece of information that you get. Of course, I'm gonna give you some tips on how to maybe change it a bit from time to time, make it a bit different. And you know, I would say part of the deal is just showing that you have achieved that level of English. So even if you don't want to use maybe like the third conditional, if you can do it, it's gonna add variety to your response, and that's what you need to show. Okay, so it's about showing extensive and advanced vocabulary and grammar. Now, of course, this is gonna depend. This depends on your level. So if you guys don't feel that you have achieved an advanced level yet, if you feel like there are some grammar points that you're not so confident with, that you haven't quite learned yet, then try not to use them, you know, because it's better not to show something than to try to use it and make a mistake. So that's why it depends on you. It depends on your on what you want to use, on how confident you feel. Okay, so back to this. As you can see, you have 4 paragraphs. You have an introduction, 3 body paragraphs, the same way that you had in the reading. Okay. All right. Any questions so far before we start with the intro? Okay. Well, in that case, let's talk about the introduction first. Now, in the introduction, the 2 basic things that you need to do is obviously explain the both claims, okay? So the professor's and the author's point of view on the topic. That's the basic thing. But you can do more. Of course, you can do more. So let's talk about what you can do. So, all right, first let's try to explain both claims. So here's a basic template on how to do it. You can start by the reading extract claims. And here you just need to introduce the main claim that we extracted from the reading. Try not to copy and paste it. Try not to say with the exact same words, driverless cars will have positive impact on our driving experience. Paraphrasing. So maybe Melanie, what would you say in this part? What would you say for the claim?
Claims that driverless cars will benefit humans.
Okay, I like that, will benefit humans. All right. The reading extract claims that driverless cars will benefit humans and provides 3 arguments of support. I'm not mentioning, you see how I'm not mentioning the 3 arguments? I'm not saying as they are safer, good for the environment and give passengers time. Please try not to do it. First, because you will do it eventually with the body paragraphs. And if you do that too in the reading, in the introduction, maybe you're gonna end up, running out of words to use. You're gonna repeat too much. It's gonna be more repetitive. It's gonna make you waste time. And if you wanna do a conclusion, then that's your chance to summarize everything. So it's gonna be too repetitive if you include them in the intro too. So in the intro, don't tell me what the reasons are. So just the claim, okay? So the reading extract claims driverless cars will benefit humans, his opinion, and provides 3 arguments of support. Now, however, the professor argues that. So, Daniela, what would you say for the professor's point of view? This part.
The professor thinks the opposite of the idea because he thinks that it will be more problems than solutions.
Okay, I like that. More problems than solutions, or maybe because more problems than advantages or than benefits, or because they're not really solutions, right? Problems than, I don't know. Okay, we'd say benefits. That's another thing. Try to look for some words like good and bad, and instead of good and bad, you can say like beneficial, advantages, favorable. Instead of bad, the same, like negative. And instead of benefits too, let's look for some words or problems. Maybe you can say shortcomings. Yeah, something like that. So those are very common words that you will constantly use. The word like important too. So this is such an important topic, especially maybe in the other part of the writing. Okay, but so far, so good. That's your intro. Now that's the basic thing that you guys need to have. But if you have extra time, once you're done with the whole essay, not right now, but when you're done with the essay, you can go back and make it better. And that's actually something I didn't say. The best time advice I can give you is make sure that you get your essay done. Okay, so just get it done. About time, because some people try to create a perfect introduction and a perfect first body paragraph, and they have no mistakes. They're mentioning everything. It's quite detailed. It has everything it could have. but they don't make it in time to write everything else. So it's way better to have everything, and even if it's not too complete, even if it's missing some things, or if you have some mistakes, then just to have the intro, because if you just have the intro, that's not gonna take you anywhere. It's not gonna, you're gonna have like not a complete score either. So make sure that you get it done. And then when you're done, when you have the basic things that you need, you can go back and you can improve it, you can make it better, maybe add something, you know, you just check, you proofread, you spell check, see that everything's in order, okay? So back to this is the basic thing. You continue writing, and when you're done, you go back and you can make it better. So at the beginning, what you can do to give a bit of context is tell what the general topic is. So in this case, can anyone tell me what the general topic is?
Advantage of driverless cars.
Okay, advantages of driverless cars. Yes, that's right. That's the topic of this, but I was wrong. Sorry. Think of the general topic of both the reading and the lecture, what they have in common. So what would that be?
Driverless cars. Just
Okay, perfect. That's the topic. All right, so you can try to explain that at the beginning. So you can say something like, okay, we're gonna change the word. So the reading or the article maybe. The article and lecture both discuss, we could say, or are both on. And here we're gonna change the words and we're gonna say the author and the professor. Okay, so the article and lecture both discuss, and here you just mention the topic, right? Try not to repeat. So if we have said driverless cars here, let's say autonomous cars. Autonomous cars. And you always have like a short introduction here, right? Like a short explanation, a short definition. So you can add that paraphrase. So for example, here we have something like, this technology is simple to understand. These cars can drive without input from a human. So that's what driverless cars are. That's the definition you have. So now you need to paraphrase it. So maybe, Araceli, what would you say? To paraphrase the definition of autonomous cars, what they are.
There will be a way of transportation without a driver.
Okay, nice. So it's a perfect. A way of transport, maybe that doesn't require a driver. Okay, so that's it. The lecture and article both discuss autonomous cars, a way of transport that doesn't require a driver. Now the author claims that they, here we can just say, you know, since we have autonomous cars, maybe that this or that this technology will benefit humans and provides the arguments of support, but the professor argues that there will be more problems than benefits objecting each of the author's arguments. So that could be your introduction. Okay, you have a bit of context and you explain both claims. Any questions about that so far? Now, another way of doing it, I wanted to say this before we go. You can also use this structure of whereas, you know, so the article and lecture both discuss autonomous cars, a way of transport that doesn't require driving. Now, whereas the author claims that, and blah, 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 that this technology will benefit humans, providing three arguments of support, the professor objects each argument and believes that they won't have such benefits or that there will be more problems. Okay, so you can also use this, like, whereas the author claims this, the professor believes this, That's another way too. So, okay, so that's your intro. As you can see, 4 lines, both claims, context. Don't go into detail yet. Don't tell me what the reasons are. Now, any questions now? Okay, so I think we're gonna have to wrap it up here. We'll continue next class where we're writing the body paragraphs. And as I was saying, I'll give you some tips on how to make it, you know, different, what expressions or what grammar try to use. So we'll be doing that next class. Now, for now, please don't forget to fill out the daily survey and see you all next week.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Can I ask something?
Yes, tell me anything.
Okay. I just am wondering about 2 questions. I think in the previous class with the other teacher, we practiced like the question form for the reading, but he said that it was like one question, like you explained, and other that we have to add an opinion. And then I remember the question number 1. I think it's like just an opinion too, like a personal question. And I just wondering why, like this question, they weren't in the theoretical class.
The first question, the first speaking question,
Yeah,
the one about the opinion.
in the first question, I think it was about a lecture, and then you have to give opinion.
Okay, yes. So the thing is, you know, I'm not sure what your group is, but we're gonna get there. The thing is, you know, that how we organize this course so that more people can join every week. So, okay, let me show you the speaking. Okay, well, in the speaking, there are 4 questions, 4 tasks. And I think that with your group, we have seen the second, third, and fourth, but we haven't seen the first one. So we're gonna see that the last week of this course, but we're gonna see it eventually.
Okay, thank you.
We just started with the second one, but yes, we will get there. And also we will be practicing that during the speaking session. So you should schedule some sessions.
Yes, thank you for answering.
Okay, no worries. So bye-bye, see you next class.